yours give more returns. Get more security and more interest on your fixed deposits from Sri Lanka's largest finance company, LOLC Finance.
Hi, this is Shaq, and I'll be answering Living's questions today for Living Gets Real.
Hi Shaq, welcome to the show. It's lovely having you with us today.
It's great to be here.
So let's dive into the first question. Can you briefly take us through your journey in being on radio and how has it evolved through the years?
I don't think it's going to be brief. This is my 28th year in radio. I actually started as a teenager back in 1995. So I started at Yes as a part-timer, working only on Sundays back in 95. Then, of course, I moved into a full-time role. Then I left back in 1998. I left to start a radio station called Sun FM. In 98, and was there for about a year and a half really before I actually got an offer to go abroad to work at a radio station, which I was also working there for about a year and a half. Then I returned back to Sri Lanka, and since 1999 I have been at Yes since 2015. Stepped down 2015 as a board member of NBC, and also basically got away from the normal radio routine, as they say. So I just basically took a back seat, but I was consulting for many radio stations from that point onwards till I decided maybe the timing was right to actually get back into the race, which I have now just about a month ago.
That's an interesting journey of 28 years.
Yeah, it's too long, way too long.
Okay, so can you share a memorable on-air moment or experience that stands out to you? I mean, I'm sure you must be having tons of it, but could you share a few with us?
I don't know if I can actually share a few, but I mean, a couple of, I think one that really stands out is the fact that we sort of broke a record. Just a few days before the tsunami hit in Sri Lanka, we did the longest radio show in South Asia at that point. And it was Mark and I, and we actually were on air for 89 and a half hours straight. I think today, thinking of that, I don't think I'll ever do it again, because we just jumped into it with our eyes closed, and my God, we had to keep our eyes open for 89 and a half hours. That was one of the most memorable experiences, and I think one of the biggest highlights of my radio career really will be, of course, winning the Executive of the Year award at the Maharajas, which was it's the pinnacle. Honestly, as far as working in an industry, working in an organization like that, that really is the top that you can actually achieve, and I'm so glad that I finally did manage to win the Executive of the Year award. So two memorable moments, I believe, that would be.
Alright, so here's a fun one. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only have 3 albums, which ones would you choose?
First one, of course, I think I'd choose Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. Then I would actually have Stevie Wonder's album called Hotter Than July. And then, of course, I think this is something that almost everybody would sort of hold on to it, with Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Nice, the classics.
Classics, yeah, you can't get away from the classics.
So, how do you maintain a consistent and unique on-air persona while staying true to yourself?
I think that is something that even presenters today really need to get a hold of, because you need to first of all identify the fact that you are not a presenter. That is something that radio presenters or personalities really need to get into, that you are a personality, and people want to hear who you are. People don't want to hear who you are on air if you are a completely different person off air. And down the line, I am sure you're going to slip up somewhere, and things are going to sort of, you don't need to confuse yourself at the end of the day, because simplify things, do things very simple, keep the basics alive. People want to hear who you are, not who you want to be. That's the most important thing. So again, to answer your question, I think you got to just simplify the whole process. Just follow the basics, which I strongly feel that lots of radio presenters have actually veered away from basics, and they're trying to be, at the moment, individuals who they really are not on air, individuals who are not necessarily off air, on air at the moment.
So Shaq, being the COO of Fox FM, how has that evolved, or how has that happened? How is it, because you all have rebranded as of recent, right?
That's right,
so
yeah.
How has that been so far?
Well, so far it's been good. So far it's been challenging at the end of the day. I mean, because look, we're in the game with some stalwarts of the industry. Radio stations who are celebrating 20 plus years in the industry. They've made their name, they've made their mark, they don't need to sort of prove themselves anymore. But we're definitely in it for the long haul, and we're definitely in it to actually rebrand the whole radio industry, so to say, because in our own little way, we're hoping to do that. It's going to be a challenge. No one said it's not going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be hard. But I believe that we can definitely start sort of chipping away with the industry as we move on, because like I said earlier on, working and being a part of some of the other radio stations in a consultant role, I know what actually can work. I know what shouldn't be done, and I know what sort of paths are left open for radio stations ideally should take, and I think we most probably will end up taking those paths.
Nice, so it's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
All right.
To me too. I would like to look forward to it too.
Okay, so last question. What advice would you give someone aspiring to become a radio personality through your experience of 28 years being in the industry?
You see, one thing of course is we are a blessed country with talent. It doesn't matter what industry you are in. It could be sports, it could be business, it could be entrepreneurship, it could be media. We are absolutely blessed, and I think we are one of the very few school systems in the world that actually also has a media unit in those schools, which is really, really good. And I think, see, most of the presenters and individuals who get into media today come from this feeding pool that obviously has been created in schools with these media units. But most of them you actually see moving into the Sinhala stream. Most of them you see moving into the Tamil stream. Very little do you see them moving into the English stream, because I mean, you can't blame them at the end of the day, because you get more mileage, you get viewed more, you get spoken about more, especially when you go into either one of those mass sort of industries and languages spoken in Sri Lanka. But having said that, we really do have a pool of English presenters out there who want to basically also go into the English stream. Comparatively to Sinhala and Tamil radio industries, in English, individuals who would like to create or make this their career is very, very small. So that's something that I think radio industries have sort of been fighting for a long time. And that's also one of the reasons that you most probably would hear massive turnover in terms of presenters, because some of them are basically there just killing time. Some of them there just for a stepping stone before they move into college or move into something else. Also, some obviously do have some cultural issues and not necessarily being a part of media, English media, so on and so forth. So I think English media is actually finding it difficult to actually get a hold of some good presenters. Because of that, you unfortunately end up having mediocre individuals on air. So I don't think you have anybody else to blame except the radio industry itself, to not necessarily create a platform where obviously radio is actually considered as a career in this country, especially English radio is considered a career in this country, because Sinhala for sure, Tamil for sure, English, why not? That's a question that needs to be answered. I don't think we found the answer for the last 30 years.
Well, let's hope your journey continues in finding that answer as well.
Yeah, maybe I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice to go anywhere else.
All right, so we come to the end of the questions, and we'll meet you on the other side with a fun game we have planned for you.
Oh, all right.
The key to quality and efficiency. Be a jewel. Professionalism is the jewel in the corporate crown.
Refresh Sri Lanka for a civic-minded society. In association with 99X. LMD, the voice of business.
Hi Shaq, so welcome back to the second segment, and we have some interesting questions for you today to answer.
All right.
So you have 30, so let's start with the first one.
Okay.
If you could be invisible for one day, what would you do?
If I were invisible one day,
Yes.
I would love to sit through these cabinet meetings that people obviously are talking so highly about and find out what exactly has been discussed and passed, because everything that's passed there results in the mayhem that we have here in the country. So yeah, maybe for one day would love to be a fly on the wall, even if that's a possibility.
Good one, okay. What is the most embarrassing music you listen to?
Most embarrassing music? I don't know. I think can't really put anything as an embarrassment, because I mean we live in music, and I really can't say if there's. I'm actually embarrassed with my daughter because of the fact that the type of music she listens to I don't know, so that could be an embarrassment of sorts. Yeah, because I think just because I believe that she thinks I'm in radio that I should know every song that's been played, so that type of embarrassment is difficult to actually comprehend. Yeah.
Okay. Who is the last person you stalked on social media?
Stalked? Good God, no.
Or checked out, or was interested in knowing more about?
No. No, I've stopped checking out my ex-girlfriend's profile also for a long time. Now I realize that I'm in a better place than she is.
Okay. Have you ever ghosted on someone?
Yeah, many times. Many times. Yeah, I mean, not necessarily meetings or so, but then of course sometimes when I need to catch up with an old friend, and then unfortunately something comes up, and and especially when it comes to a point where you've actually already postponed that meeting a couple of times, where you know that when you actually call them the next time and you are going to get an earful, so you'd rather stay away from it. You get the earful after, so it's all right. I think I have ghosted a few people.
Okay. What is the one thing you would stand in line for?
what's the one thing I would stand in line for?
Ignoring what we stood in line for last year.
Yeah, we had no choice there.
Of course.
One thing I would stand in line for.
I don't know.
I think if we're in a position to stand in line for something, I would. I'm sorry, I really don't know. I don't know what's the one thing I would stand in line for.
Okay. If you had to change your name, what would your new first name be?
Well, the thing is this, right? I mean, obviously everybody knows me as Shaq, which is not my real name. So I mean, it's etched in me for the last 28 odd years that unfortunately sometimes my parents also call me that. And then it feels really odd when my parents call me that. Yeah, so I don't know. I think we'll just basically stick with Shaq. Yeah, as boring as that, we'll just leave it at that.
Okay. If you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
One song for the rest of my life. It will be. It's difficult to actually say one song. I think it would be Fleetwood Mac, a song called "Don't Stop." It's a great song. It's a fantastic, uplifting song. That's a song that I've actually listened to at times that I have been in sort of positions where I'm just about to sort of let go. But you just listen to that song and different versions of that song. Because it's a great uplifting song. It's a very positive song. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. It's an amazing song, and that's a song that really gets me going at any given time.
Nice. What's the strangest dream you've ever had?
I think this is the dream that I actually had, like maybe yesterday. It's so weird. I haven't really, you know what? I haven't told anybody about this dream. This is about just today. I had this dream, right? That we're walking. I don't know who I'm walking with, but I'm controlling a child, right? And in a remote, a child, and this child is just walking. It's going up the mountain. It's walking down this. So I've got a remote control in my hand, and I'm controlling this child. It's like the most weirdest dream I've ever had. I haven't spoken about that to anybody, and it's the first time I'm actually talking about it. It's just I think maybe a day or 2 days ago I had this dream. I was like, what the hell am I controlling? Who the hell am I controlling? It's weird as hell, really.
Could be the inner child in you.
Yeah, maybe. That inner child has to control me.
Okay. Name one thing you'd do if you knew there'd be zero consequences.
A rubber bank.
Okay.
Straight up. No consequences? Why not?
Okay. What's the most random thing in your wallet right now?
I wouldn't know. I think some random things. I think I most probably will be holding on to certain bills that would remind me how really stupid I was at that point to spend a crazy amount for something which possibly I might not even have right now. So yeah, that's just those are things that you remind yourself that you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Then young and dumb, move on.
Okay. What's the last song that made you cry?
The last song that made me cry. I don't know, but I for some weird reason the national anthem always makes me cry. I've got no idea why. I have no idea why, but it does, especially when it comes. Especially just before cricket matches and before events, and it doesn't make me cry, but I tear.
Emotional.
Emotional, yeah. So I mean, without fail, it does that. So, and sometimes I got to expect it also. It's not the best thing, especially when you're in a crowd. Yeah, so people are like, hey, what's wrong? What's wrong? No, nothing. Something in my eye. Sorry about that.
Okay. What are the 5 most recent things in your search history?
One of the 5 most recent things in my search history would be the currency conversion between the Norwegian krona and Sri Lankan rupees, because my son is in Norway. He just finished his university, and my second son is actually planning on going there. So that's right up there. Sending money is not easy. What else do I actually have? The recent things, lots of radio stuff, I believe. Lots of radio tutorials, which I still basically read up on because of the fact that the industry is changing so much around the world, even though in Sri Lanka we are stagnant. Yeah, and I don't know, and I think recently most probably will be one of the movie theaters to buy a ticket to go watch a movie. Those must be yeah, I'm boring like that, okay?
Okay, so here's an interesting one. Have you ever flirted with a close friend's sibling?
Have I ever flirted with a close friend's sibling? No. I'm not trying to think of the sibling. I'm trying to think of who the close friends that I actually have. No, none of the close friends that I actually know. No, I'm sorry. No, I don't think so. Yeah, okay. No friends either.
Oh dear. Okay, if you had to get a tattoo today, what would it be?
I think most probably I get, if I do, which I know I won't, I think I'll get a tattoo with the name of my kids.
Nice. Okay. What gross food combo do you secretly love?
I don't know if you like this, but have you actually tried cake and fish curry? It's amazing. It's amazing. Try it.
Right.
I'm not the best person in the house to actually do this, especially when that comes around. Nobody talks to me for a few days, but you have to try it. Even if it's a ribbon cake, even if it's butter cake, you know, ribbon cake, butter cake, any cake, fish curry, the best. Try it.
Okay.
I know you won't call me for another interview after this, but that's fine.
Definitely give it a try. Okay. What's the most embarrassing nickname you've ever been given?
Kota. Yeah, Kota is one. Mozzie is another one, because this is back in school. I was really fast, and so they thought that I was like a mosquito. So I was called Mozzie for the longest time, and I wasn't very tall in school either. So Kota was another one. I think it's a very popular nickname given to anybody short in Sri Lanka.
Okay. What app do you first check in the morning?
Gmail.
Right. Okay.
Just to make sure that actually no, come to think of it, no, it's WhatsApp, because of whatever the messages that I missed out overnight. Unfortunately, we live in an industry, or I am part of an industry that people are working right around the clock. So you know, we need to figure out where we stand when we wake up in the morning. So I got tons of messages that. But the thing is this, right? I don't answer any one of them the first thing in the morning. I just go through all the messages, make sure I sort of comprehend with all those messages, digest those messages, and then nobody gets to speak to me till I have my cup of coffee, and then everything sort of falls into place. Yeah.
Okay. What superstitions do you believe in?
What superstitions do I believe in? I believe in always stepping forward with my right foot, which is, I don't know if it's a superstition or sort, but I think that's something that my mom sort of inculcated in me when I was small, that it doesn't matter where you go, even if you're walking into a fight, even if you're walking into an argument, that you know you're getting an argument, just walking with your right foot and things sort of work out. So I think that is something that I have always done, anywhere I go into. That's a superstition I believe in. Not that it has worked all the time, right? So that's a different story, but that's something, yeah.
Okay. What's the worst thing you've ever said to anyone?
Wow. After 28 years, you can write a book. Well, it's the worst thing that
You don't have to tell who you said it to.
Do I have to do that?
No, you don't.
I don't have to.
You don't have to.
Okay, I think the worst thing that I've done over the years is sadly to let people go from their jobs, and that conversation is like the most difficult conversation. Because you obviously have to let them go because they're not necessarily up to the mark that you thought they will be. But you also unfortunately do not know the fights and the issues that they're going through personally as to why they are at that point. But we're in a world that we can't be so considerate with everything, because at the end of the day it's all about, you know, showing up on that day. So those conversations, I think over the years, I've had a fair number of them. Still, it's very uncomfortable to have that conversation, to let people go. But to let them know why we are letting them go, or why I'm letting them go, is also very, I would actually put it as possibly one of some of the worst things that you're forced to do. Not that you want to do, you're forced to do. Yeah.
Okay. So what popular TV show or movie do you secretly hate?
What popular?
Either a TV show or a movie.
That I secretly hate?
Dislike, if hate is too of a harsh word.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe Friends. Yeah, I'm sorry. Your facial expression says a lot. Because I really never got to sit and watch it. It's good in patches, right? It's good in patches. It's good. Those jokes are good. But you can't binge watch that over and over and over again. Sorry. I'm sorry. Again.
You're going to make a lot of enemies.
Again, I'm not going to be invited for another interview. Yeah, I secretly dislike it, but I can watch it. I can tolerate it. But yeah,
Oh dear.
I think lots of people just tuned off also right now.
Do you sing in the shower?
No, I don't.
Oh dear.
No, I
Okay.
don't.
Okay, so what's your biggest regret?
What's my biggest regret? My biggest regret is not to act upon certain things that I thought would work at that time. And something that I've actually learned over time is to not bounce off ideas with individuals who always have spoken, who talk me out of it, of ideas and of things that I wanted to do either for the station or for whatever it is. But I see 1 year down the line or 1.5 years down the line, it's actually out there and somebody's doing it and so on. I think my biggest regret is not necessarily acting on what I really wanted to do and get on and do it without just basically talking about it with somebody else who somehow, or some individuals or people around me who unfortunately found a way to convince me not to go ahead with it. So I think the biggest regret is to talk to people. Don't talk to them. Just do it.
All right, just do it.
Just do it.
Okay.
Just do it.
So what excuse have you used before to get out of plans?
Sometimes I don't give an excuse. I just ghost them. Unfortunately, yeah. Because thing is, if they're, like I said earlier on, if I have unfortunately postponed that meeting over and over again, there is no other excuse. But there are times that, you know, I think, unfortunately, in my line of work, I think really work is the best sort of excuse that I can actually sort of come up with. I think everybody comes up with a meeting excuse. Everybody has a meeting that they can't make it, or everybody has an engagement that they can't sort of do. So my go-to excuse will always be meeting. Will always be meeting.
So what's the most top played song on your phone?
On my phone, I don't play a single song on my phone.
Really?
No, I don't. I don't even have Spotify on my phone. The thing is this, right? This is this misconception that people actually have just because we work in radio, that we practically live in it. I'll tell you a secret now. I don't even listen to radio when I'm driving. You need time to, get out of it. Yeah. Otherwise, how could you even make your decisions, or how could you sort of, be very sort of, what's the right word, analytical about your decisions if you're always living in it? If you're always in it, you need a break. It's like me asking, for example, somebody who's out there who is possibly, working as an author or whatever, how many books do you read on a daily basis? People like to do these things, but I like to get away from music after all these years, being in the industry. Those are those little times that you want to sort of get away from it, that you don't want to do anything. Music sort of, just turn off. Because once you get back in it, then it's like a fresh perspective altogether. But if you're living it right throughout every single moment, you don't see it from a different angle. You have to see whatever you're doing from a different angle. And I believe the only way you can do that is to just take a back seat. Just shut off. Just keep quiet. Don't do that, because you're anyway doing it like 60% of your time all the time. So just don't do it. Times that like that, you just stay away from it.
So what's the one thing you can't live without?
What's the one thing I can't live without? Is it material?
Anything. Could be
Anything. I think family.
What's an instant deal breaker in a potential interest? Could be business, it could be personal.
Instant deal breaker. Difficult.
Okay, take it in a context of a business. What
Right.
would be a instant deal breaker? Okay, say recruitment, for example.
Or BSing all the way.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. You know the guy. You know the person is just BSing you. You know the BS is there, but that's instant deal breaker. Somebody who just basically fans their own ego all the time. It's like, anybody who keeps using the word I in every sort of conversation, instant deal breaker for me. But in terms of, in terms of business, over the years, it's funny that we've actually been sort of, directed to make sure that the deal doesn't break, that we do whatever we do to make the deal work. But yeah, there've been many times in meetings that have really sort of ticked you off because they've actually touched a nerve. Sometimes they get very personal, some personal things. Sometimes they think that they know what, I suppose, that they know better than us in what we do, which they start lecturing us on those things. But you can't take this to another level, because at the end of the day you need this deal. So that's unfortunate.
Okay. So if you were paid $1 million, what's something you would never do in spite of the money?
If I was paid $1 million, what is something that I will never do? I will never gamble. I would never walk into a casino. It's not the fact that I haven't. I have, long time ago. But I think I've seen how much it has actually, sort of ripped families apart, and people have just basically gone from, hero to zero in a matter of minutes. So that's because I suppose at the end of the day they also don't know when to stop. They just feel that they can keep going on. But the one thing is, honestly, you got just $1 million. Why do you want to waste it? Look, the house always wins in a casino. Get that right.
Okay. Name your go-to karaoke song.
Again.
You have to have one.
I suppose it would be any Fleetwood Mac. Look, for me, Fleetwood Mac is my ultimate band, right? And I was so fortunate enough to actually watch them live in Sydney. And now they're no more. they're like disbanded, and some of the members are basically, just gone. They're dead. But for me, that band was like the epitome when I was growing up, and there's so many songs in their albums, from The Chain to Rumors to so many, actually made a lot of sense in what I was going through in life at that point. That's why it made so much sense for me to be so attached with that band. So I mean, Don't Stop is a great song. I don't mind singing that song. Don't Stop is a good song. Everywhere is another great song. There's, I don't know. It depends. Honestly, it depends. So I don't have a go-to song as such.
Okay, it's Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Who would you cast as you and your friends in the movie version of your life?
Who would I cast? As in who?
It could be local, it could be international.
Who would I cast as me?
You and then your friends.
Me and my friends.
Don't tell me you're thinking about who your friends are.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know who the friends would actually be casted.
Who's been casted?
I don't know. Who could...
I don't know.
I haven't really given that a thought at all. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a great movie. So no, don't have anybody to basically who I feel can actually star as me.
Okay. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was lovely to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. There you have it. These are my answers to the questions and the game. Be sure to check out Living's Instagram and Facebook pages for the latest episodes of Living Gets Real.